and I. Because you know why? Nobody loves nobody. Ding, 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 la, ding, ding. Dee, 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 ding, ding, la, ding, ding. Doo, 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 dong, ding, la, la, ding. Hey girl, you look so lovely, and I'm madly in love with you. She said, don't mind, I'm on the streets, yeah. I don't know what you want to do. No, don't feel that I'm shabby. Not because I love dirty, but let me explain you, mister. I'm not really a hustler, but if you really want to make it with me, please don't tell me that you love. I'm sorry, because love don't love anybody. Everyone keeps cutting each other's throat. In this concrete jungle we live in, the episode is murder she wrote. Cause you can tell how I feel when I'm hungry. You do not feel the depression that I feel when I'm broke. My so-called friends, they're just watching and laughing. They won't stretch a helmet hand, I swear they have stroke. That's how I know love. She said love, nobody loves nobody. Day, la, day, 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 la, day. I say, baby, you must believe me, because what I'm saying is true. She said, mister, just pass the money and then do what you want to do. Boy, I was living so happy. Yes, I once had a family, but my friends them put me on a scene, introduced me to this thing called cocaine. Now I find myself in difficulty, searching for help only to find there's nobody, because love don't love anybody. Everyone keeps cutting each other's throat. In this concrete jungle we live in, the episode is murder she wrote. Cause you can tell how I feel when I'm lonely. Many times I just have to get up.
Bonsoir à tout le monde. Yes, bonsoir. On est mardi 28 janvier 2025. J'espère que tout le monde va bien. Bienvenue dans votre émission Conversation. We change name. We take out the la. So even you're using the French or the English, it's conversation. French, c'est conversation. En espagnol, je ne sais pas comment on va apprendre. Mettons, on va faire l'espagnol. Parce que chez nous, on parle toutes les langues aussi. C'est pas un truc de monopole. On parle tout chez nous. Donc ce soir, comme vous le savez, le mardi, je reçois des politiciens, politiciennes qui font fonctionner le territoire de Saint-Martin du sud jusqu'au nord. Donc, tonight I have guests. I have two guests in the house. For those who are following in social media, you know, I have the Generation Hope Party in the house. I have Lady first because Monsieur Charvin anyway. C'est, I gotta fix the traffic, I gotta manage the traffic, can't reach you. So, voilà, donc j'ai Madame Laurence en français, Lawrence en English, si je ne me trompe pas, et qui est au studio avec moi ce soir. On va discuter un petit peu de l'actualité du territoire, parce qu'ils sont élus pour normalement gérer les affaires du territoire, trouver des solutions, nous apporter des solutions où il y a des problèmes et améliorer le quotidien de ces Martiniquais. So, I've done in 2027 election already. So, folks, I hope everybody is good. Everybody had a nice weekend. Everybody didn't enjoy the traffic yesterday, but we're still here. We have life. That's the most important right now, life and the health. Je vais tourner ma caméra to say good night to Mrs. Lawrence. I have to say Mrs. Lawrence. Mrs. Lawrence, welcome back.
Good evening, radio listeners. Good evening to your guests. Good evening, Gerald. Thank you for having me tonight.
How are you?
I'm okay. And you?
You look like that make 40 years I didn't see you. It's 40 years?
I think so.
Think so?
Close enough.
Wow, that's laughing.
Close enough.
So we know the year just changed and we have how to say that? Ups and downs in the country, how the feeling we see your area, because not even your area, your hometown, when cars having violence, tourists, young people dying. What's the feeling when you feel, because it's from your area, so what's the feeling when you're in those news, maybe in the morning and the night, because we know most of us sleep late in the night. So what's the feeling when you see these things happening in the country, especially in regards?
You know, it's never a good feeling to know that you wake up in the morning or at any point of the day. It's never good news, whether it's from Grand Cars, French Quarter, Marigot, Sandy Ground. It's never a good feeling to know that you have a fellow Samatna, a fellow human being. It doesn't matter where you're from, you're a human being. It's never a good feeling to know that there's someone that got killed, whether it was a scooter accident or was gun violence. And it's unfortunate that I feel like Grand Cars was targeted as if it was out of the ordinary. Violence happens everywhere, every day, all around the world. I find it was a shame that we targeted Grand Cars and put the spotlight on Grand Cars because it's such a touristic area, without looking at the problem. Because in my opinion, I feel I've always heard that, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. And to me, the village.
But do that exist, this village? We know when you were small.
The village changed. Back in the day, if I listen to my mom and my grandparents when they spoke about what village was, it was your neighborhood, it was a community, you know, your family members. Today, the village is, in my opinion, is more than just your community, your neighborhood. It's everybody's it has a responsibility in this village. There's government, there's the educational system, there's law enforcement, there's your parents, there's your family, there's your neighbors. You know, to me, that is a village, and that system is broken. Unfortunately, today, in my opinion, that system is no longer. It's broken. It's trickles down. There's so many different reasons as to why we find ourselves in this situation. You can't always only single out parents. It's not only parents that's a problem. It's everybody's. We can go into more details. In my opinion, what I feel as if, let's say they targeted Grand Cars. So let me use Grand Cars as the example. When you have parents, whether they're young or older, you're expecting them to pay EDF, and so one parent needs to have 2 jobs alone just to pay those 2 bills. What do they do with their children when they have no choice but to go work? Some parents have 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet, whether they are 2 parents in a household, a single parent. Then the fact that it's only one parent is also it's problematic, because the absence of a second parent leaves a burden on one parent. Then the community, when you look at Grand Cars, what is there for these youngsters to do?
Well, that make a good time. We have no MGC, you don't have no activities. We to put them young. After, could we blame only? We cannot blame only government.
That's why I say
have a job to do.
That's what I say. It's everybody has their part to take. The parents have a certain part, but in today's society, parents can no longer be parents because if parents get on too hard, guess what? Well, what is the consequences for those parents? Just like the educational system, teachers can no longer be teachers. When in front of you have children that are not being respectful or not doing their work, when you can't give them punishment no more. You can't give them bad grades. You can't make them stay back. So it's part of, it's everything playing part of bringing up these children to fail. Whereas they're going to come out to a certain time in school that they need to go for a job, they can't get no qualifications, or they can't continue following the higher education system because they lack the basic knowledge. Wasn't it the ministre de l'Éducation? I think not the previous one. I think I think it was Gabriel Attel. Yeah. He was the one that made the announcement that we have students arriving to the university today that doesn't have the base of mathematics. Why is that? So that's why I'm saying it's not only government to be blamed. It's not only parents to be. It's the community. You have to blame the community, that villages to be to blame.
Because just now you talk about the parents have to work, and we have employment too. Because you have I was surprised the actual deputy of Saint-Barthélemy is like now he discovered we got 2,000 young people who's not working on 4,000 not employing people in this country. So like, yes, it's not from today. We know it's not 2 years. Or you just come in. You was your back then. So it's not now you discover you have 2,000 people, young people who's not working. I fellows put training all kind of thing. But after I say don't do training for training. Right. After I always say you need to train those parents too, because you have more young people who having babies and they just have to discover the world. They don't have academy, nothing. So you have all this support in place. After they have a real work to do, and I believe the real work is when it's not when I set up people on after the table. It's when everybody around the table to find a solution.
Correct. It's not only single-handed. It's everybody has to put in their work. You need to hear what the parents are going through. You need to hear what the educational system is going through. You need to hear what government is going through to find a common ground, because children today are lost. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to turn to. They don't have, and then you can't always generalize. Yes, you do have the bad eggs amongst that do influence the good ones, but you need to have I think this is where the maison quartier can play a role. If they can employ like a community manager for someone to be on the road, go on these areas where you see like the blocks, have true conversation. What is your problem? What are you lacking? Where do you need help? But for that to work, government has to be able to put the maison de quartier financially in a position where they can do that role. Those are important institutions that we need to be working.
But you have a lot of things to do with the young people, and
give them responsibilities as well. Some of them just lack response because they want to feel important.
Yes.
Like for example, now we have the Grand Cars Boulevard that's blocked. Don't you think we could have invested and buy a few golf carts, put some of those youngsters, give them the job to drive the tourists up and down? It was, something.
Yeah, it's little things. It's
something
little
like
things,
that.
But you have a lot of things we could do, and then until we don't put young people in front, and when I say young people in front, it's not only when they have election. We take 2-3 we put on the list, and after they have projects they want to do, but sometimes the whole heads and them don't give them the because all they say that I know everything, and we don't move forward. So I believe we see have a assise coming up, I think tomorrow, somewhere down the line, yeah, and the lycée Daniela Jeffrey. But I must say, like, when you're doing something, so if you bring everybody around the table, you bring the association from different areas, parents, all of them, so they're gonna tell you what's going on. It's not because you're gonna do it on half of the table. You're going for the solution. The solution is not putting an agenda in every school. The solution is not every school and the children going to school. You have to search or put what do you call that? skill detector in front of the door.
That's not solving the problem.
You know, so that's not solving the
that might
problem.
actually trigger more issues.
Because we went that thing and we come into that the Marty de Gancaz, we see a cancel. Is cancelled from that thing. Okay, it's not cancelled because of them, but they reinforced the security on them because they were asking them barrier the security. They were asking them put these things they would put for the metal detectors. Yeah. They were for asking all that. So after I say that's out of budget because metal detector is something else. So voila. But today, what they doing really for the young people because. Last night somebody was telling me, yeah, the young people they only get a job to sweep the road. And I tell the person, the young people, okay, whoever the collectivity get them a job, but these young people they get how to say that, a manager or something when they come up for that system. I call it the system. So that system can make sure like, okay, I come up to the school, I need to use the system to come back in the system. Be entrepreneur, be whatever you want. Because I say, yeah, maybe they're sweeping the road, but they have projects before they need people to be with them to how we call the
guide them.
You know, them
and that's what my idea of with the Maison Quartier is to put this grand frère to be able to have conversation and be able to guide them what to do, listen, talk to them, one-on-one conversation. What are your projects? What are your goals? You know, we come back to the saying that you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, then you feed him for a lifetime.
So I think yes, we see match, and we had a match in Guadeloupe too, because Guadeloupe, a young fellow, I did stab in Port-à-Pitre. We see the match. It was not the same thing. Okay, I see the match like, and they do the match like, it's okay, green cars is our area is peace. We don't need them type of thing, green cars. After all. So, and Mrs. Lawrence, we talk about the violence of working people. You are a young politician. You're part of those new generation who get elected last election. So after almost 3 years now, this year became 3 years, what's the feeling about the actual government, the action they put in place for young people in certain areas? And I say young people is not because they have some young people, they get boosts until now they ain't get the money. But what's your feeling as young politician, the management of the collectivity actually?
In my honest opinion, without having to point fingers or blame anybody, I find that the young people, the etiquette of the young people was used and abused.
Okay.
I think that was used too much as a center to get elected, and then it was the first one to be dropped and forgotten about. In the council, you hear Mr. Shabir always talk about the different fields that we have, our sport infrastructure. Today we have the CES that is something supposed to try our sportsmen up to the highest level, but without the proper infrastructure, how do you give that outlet? We have so many talented children in so many fields, not only sports, where whether it be arts and crafts, whether it's artists, and I find that we don't give them enough of the avenue to be able to excel. So that's why I feel that they were used and abused and unfortunately forgotten about. That's because if you look at the schools, you look at those, we need to reinvest the money into those to be able to make them thrive, and that's not what's happening.
Okay. So today, when you watch, because my other thing was sports, you went in sports because we see the cycling young fellow just signed his new contract. Today, yes, the sport area needs some update, and I remember not this consultant, the other consultant, Mr. Shabir was, how to say that, Agnes was going on to San Juan Battlefield was going, and yesterday we see a well-known association come up and say, listen, I need to do something because we're fighting to make sure the sport, the young people reaching a certain level, but I ain't doing no move to
the sonnet alarm is being rung in too many different areas.
So yeah, so what we were talking about is today, my last question before sorry for the traffic, Mr. Shelby. So before we turn, because tonight is not only you in the house, okay? We have a Hope Generation Hope in the house. Good evening to Madame Choisy. Voilà, she said good night. I just, because people react and want to. So we have the Mardi Doncas, we see some money thing. Today, you from Green Cars, how you feel? Because it's something like it bring tourists, and I know you're on the touristic thing too. How was the feeling because it cancel or
too much? It's unfortunate because there's many. You can look at it from many avenues. Just like Carnival, that's something that happens automatically every year. Mardi de Grand Case this is not their first event. That's something that happens every year. To me, it's a mismanagement on both ends. It is something that that has to come. This association has this event. So it to me, like I said, everyone is to be blamed. Unfortunately, it's going to be a blow for Grand Case because it brings a lot of business and a lot of attraction to the neighborhood. But yeah, I find it's unfortunate.
But do they do this association should wait only from the collectivity front because you have the restaurant, the hotels, I can't.
To me, it's supposed to be. They're supposed to have sponsorship as well. No, I'm not part of the association, but that's also the negative image that the collectivity has also given. In my personal opinion, I feel as if too many associations abuse of the collectivity and thinking that I refer it as a social bank.
Okay.
And I even drew the attention to someone how many associations was created and why.
Okay, but we always had a lot of association. After we have to see
the evolution of creation of.
You have some association of function and we want to take our money. They could get money more faster. All that we need to.
And that's also part of the problem. Like I said, it's an abuse.
Monsieur Charville, how are you?
Oh, sorry.
Listen, when she come in, she say hot. I say at least.
Hot or cold?
Voilà. I say hot. She was cold. I say okay. At least she getting ready for Assemblée Nationale. Now you come in, you say you look at you and want to go France. Okay. Monsieur Charville, how are you?
Good evening, Joanne. I'm fine, thanks.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
The last time I see you was last year.
Last year, and Happy New Year to the listeners, to the viewers also.
Thanks.
And thank you for the invitation, and sorry for the delay.
We said traffic, the traffic. That we bring the traffic, everything. I no problem. At least you reach.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you for the invitation. And I'm happy that we have with us, of course, Angeline. That kept you busy for the past 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, because sometimes they say I both from far on the city, but tonight I both are close tonight, so that's good. Monsieur Charville, we see since the beginning of this year, we see violence on the islands, and we see too much, and we see the last Conseil Territorial, you give the president advice, and now I see he bring it up and say thanks to Monsieur Charville. What's your feeling when you're getting news, shooting all over, stabbing, everything going on, and we saw it?
Well, all of us have the same feeling. We just keep wondering, okay, how long will this continue to happen? And why we not, I'm saying we, because the government represents us. It's not a French side problem, it's not a Dutch side problem, it's a St. Martin problem. We are losing our young people almost on a daily basis, uselessly, unnecessarily, stupidly. And I'm not feeling that both governments, including the state and the kingdom government over there on that side, I'm not feeling that they are, how should I say, they are really looking to do something. We're not feeling that. And that's why I propose to the president that both sides, local governments and state over there is kingdom, but state over here. So at the level of the governor, the level of the prefect, the commander of the gendarmerie, chief of police over there, if it's going to be the executive council and the council of ministers, if it's going to be parliament, whatever format, but we need to come together to fight this thing together. And I propose that the first thing to do, because we did it in the past, but we did it separately. We did it first on the French side, which is déposer les armes, put down your arms, and we didn't get a lot of guns, but we got some. Some people came in, and it has to be promised. It was promised then. Same thing now. No questions asked. Don't worry, we're not going to investigate. Just bring in your gun, and we meet your gun. So we don't expect to get everything, but at least, but it will be a move in the right direction. Get some of these arms off the street. So I hope the President received the message, the proposal well. The whole council, I think, the entire council. I had an interview on the Dutch side. I spoke the same way. So I hope that this is just an example of what we can do together, but there's so many things that we can do together to fight this thing, because it's getting worse and worse. 2 days ago, there was another one again, and almost every 2-3 days, you hear something. It has to stop.
Monsieur Charville, we see he had the last city de 23, and we see what happened. It looked like the majority never have the majority to do a meeting. So there was
well, not never, almost.
Almost.
Often,
but they content for the opposition to join. And we see some of the opposition members, some because I had only one, when I watched the video, only one sit down inside, the others was outside. What's your feeling today when that happened? Because you wasn't there, and what was the feeling? Because we see reaction, we see Vice President talking, everybody talking like it's opposition fault. We didn't do the meeting. It was an important meeting. So what's the feeling as a conseiller territorial from the opposition?
Well, I would say that it's the opposition has made a statement. It was about time that they send a message, a strong message to the president, which is to say that over and over, and you're right, quite often there's no quorum coming from the majority, and it is the opposition that gave them the quorum. I know for sure quite often Mr. Gibbs, colleague Daniel Gibbs, would bring it to the attention of the president. So, President, are you realizing that it is the opposition that is giving you the quorum today? And to me, and to many of us, it is taken for granted. It is met with arrogance sometimes. There's never a feeling that, okay, if we're doing this, it's because we want to work together. We are there to work together for the country, not we just there's opposition just to give you the quorum, and during the meeting, you're treating us like you're some kind of, I don't want to use the word dictator, but it comes across like that sometimes when you're going to tell somebody you want to say, no, you want to speak to say what again? And then, no, I ain't giving you, I ain't letting you talk. You talk already. Who behaves like that? So that's the way we are treated as opposition. So I think what happened on that day, I heard on the radio, yes, and it's been happening for too long. So I think that those that were there that did that, they didn't do it not to work. They didn't do it to hamper anything, but it was a message. All of them were there 3 days after, including many members of the majority that were not there. They came. So, and we work. But so as I said, it was about time that a statement be made, and they have made their statement.
Monsieur Charville, we see actually the collectivity doing like how say that, trying to tell people to come to fix about the bare ground to all your tombs and things. And I had your colleague last week, Monsieur Daniel, he was saying like, if we had money, we didn't have to reach to that thing with the people pay the spot for the tomb. And we see Tega Austria, we see Nouveau Plan coming in. And I don't know if you have this info, why the collectivity didn't buy a piece of land, because how much years we in, buy a new piece of land, then we start ground zero. And what was the end of this story about? Because when you watch Maroga, you have some tombs, we don't know who's there.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't know who's there. So now we are in 15, we are in 2,000 euro for 10 years. What's the real, if you have the info for us, the real concept of this new thing they come up about the Belgium?
Okay, thank you very much, Gerald, for that question. I did intend, if you didn't ask it, to bring it up at this point about our cemeteries. For quite some years now, it is not only during this administration that we are having a problem. For quite some years, our cemeteries are just full. There's no more space. And if I know in Naogat for sure, if you have to bury someone, the only way you can do that is if there's family there already, then they find a spot for you somehow. But for years, we needed to find a piece of land, a big piece of land, where we can create a new cemetery. And that's what needs to happen. So, because for whatever reason, I know they explained to us the other day that is how complicated it is. If you get a piece of land, it has to be studied, and you got a water problem, whatever. Good. But we can find land for new cemeteries, because French Quarter on this full.
All of them full.
Cusack, there's a solution. They're going to extend the existing one, and they're going to extend it not for the Cusack people, but it's going to be for the whole island, because it's temporary. While we are hoping to find a new place, they're going to extend the cemetery in French Quarter and Cusack to accommodate the entire island.
Okay.
So that's going to be full quickly, because it's not such a big space. But anyway,
2 to 3 years, that should then be full again.
So the collectivity came up with an idea, and I have a serious problem with a certain aspect of it. Okay, for the concession, as it is today, if you go in all cemeteries, you would see that some families have reserved a certain amount of space for that particular family. And that space you would find, for instance, a father, a mother, a grandfather, maybe a young one that died. But you see that, okay, in that area, some of them have even fencing that little area. So without it being official, some people have already put themselves in a spirit of concession, because that's the idea of concession. In other words, they dedicate a spot to a particular family, and then you have to pay. That's where
the concession is
colleague Gibbs talk about if they had money, whether it's about money or not. But they decided, the majority, that it's going to be a certain amount of money per square meter.
Okay.
But it's not every 10 years, it's per year. It's per year. Well, if it's 10 years, it's calculated per year anyhow, but per square meter. So the more space you occupy, the more money you pay. And I think the price has been decided, but I don't remember exactly, because there were different proposal of prices. I don't know if you can remember, Angeline. I think 200 euro, 150 euro per square meter.
It all depends if it was 5, 10, or 5, 10, or 30 years. The longer you go, the cheaper the square meter. And I think averaging about, I think, from 150 a square meter to I can't remember. I really can't remember the prices out of my head.
But anyway, that's not important. We talk about the principle.
Yes.
Okay. So what it is that so far so good. Okay. Where I have a serious problem, I have a problem with the fact that um, those persons, those families, that not because they don't want, that will not be able to afford to pay. Well, they, since they don't have a concession, their family that is buried there, the members of their family that are buried there will be dug up.
Yeah. To put
So
in the
that-
house, yeah.
We don't know. Let's say
Normally is
it's
that.
either the bones will be incinerated, or there's two options,
Okay.
or the ossuary.
Yes, but
And
they're going to be incinerated and to be placed in Israel.
not automatically incinerated. They said as either they're gonna have a decent box or something where they put the bones and store them in ossuary.
Ossuary.
But if you incinerate it, then it's the what you call.
No, they're all it's ashes that will be placed in the box.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Everybody who is being removed out of those graves will be respected respectfully cremated
Yeah, but after normally,
and then put into this box
depends,
into the ossuary.
because the cremated, you cannot cremate bone. The bones you
No,
cannot
but
cremate anymore.
I know that there's two options.
Yeah, you have your how to say that
The
you make it turn powder in your,
in the rapport, it says either they incinerate in some cases, or in other cases, like you said, they take the bones and they put them in the box and they put. Okay, so they when it comes to the graves that are not marked, so you said it just now, no one knows who's buried there. That, okay, you could say, all right, that could be a solution. Also, they talk about those persons that die here, but they were never clean because they was passing through or living here for but no family, nobody ever
but
cleaned
we
the
don't have, we
bodies.
don't have a lot. Most of them is cool sack.
We don't know what could but there's some in Maragot too.
Okay.
So these people, nobody never cleaned them and they're being buried. So they talk about cases like that.
Okay.
So far, so good. But when you have a situation where a family for generations, let's say, they really go into it, because I still feel that the population should have been consulted on this. And as a matter of fact, up to now, there's not enough communication on this particular topic. For instance, there was something going on there in the cemetery in Maragot for a few days, where people were wondering, well, what's going on there? We see this tent, we see people in there. Nobody ever said or came on radio and said, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, because we have begun that process. So the process has begun, but there's no communication on it. So nobody don't know exactly what's going on. So a family who maybe was paying all the time, but let's say there's no more generation. Well, since there's no more concession, all of those members of the generation will have to be dug up because they need to make space. So those things there. The thing is, Gerald, I'm explaining this and saying why I'm against it. Why? That could be valid for big countries like France and so. Say, oh, it's a law. Yeah, it's a law. But we always talk about, and Article 74 should have given us that, what they call a speciality legislative. Mean to say there are certain laws, yes, they exist, but for St. Martin, we can't. We said no, we can't apply them here. And our statute
Normally
of Article 74 gives us the right to ask for that speciality legislative. This would be a case. Yes, it could be the law in France, but because of our habits, because of our culture, for instance, La Toussaint, when you do that, you take up the people's family and put them somewhere in Austria or whatever, and they want to come and visit the grave for La Toussaint. Where are they going to go? Where are they going to go? Next thing, it's not in the culture of us here and most of small territory like this to have our deceased dug up and put somewhere. They're resting in peace. We would like to see them really rest in peace. We call it the final resting place. If it's the final resting place, let it be that. You're going then, according to the law again, and that could be a huge problem here in St. Martin. The law says that after 5 years, so somebody dies today, they bury them 5 years after, the law allows you to take them up out of the earth and put them somewhere. So at least there's a particular vice president that was sensitive to that and said, no, no, no. We think 5 years is too short. 7 years. But I'm saying 7 years, 10 years, it shouldn't be. But it shouldn't be. Why? Let's find land for a new cemetery. You organize that new cemetery in a way. You could have the concession, but this thing about you don't have money, you can't afford, so okay, we're going to take up your family. It would also mean that if you're poor,
too bad.
Too bad for you. Well, if you got money, it's okay. We won't touch your family. You're poor, it's not your fault if you can't pay. So because you can't pay, you're going to take up my family. So those things have to be considered in a whole different way. We shouldn't be going full speed with this thing. I think we have to hear from the population, hear how they feel about this, and see if we should really do this. In the meantime, I think we should be actively looking for land for a new cemetery. The collectivity is buying land left and right. You need to buy land for a new cemetery.
I think it was just identification, and after it's okay. When we identify, like let me say, half of the cemetery, now it's okay, Monsieur Intel, from today, that's the family term. Every 10 years, you have to pay this. For 10 days, at this beginning, you pay, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 euro. That's for 10 years. I think it's something to do because other country, it's so they do it.
For those that are that will be identified.
Yes.
Those that's going to be the process for those that are identified. But he's talking where he has promised for those that are not identified, and those who are identified and cannot pay.
Because look, when you watch,
I'm sure that there will be exceptions.
Yeah, but when you watch Margot Cemetery, you know certain things because maybe you went to the funeral, maybe you have the family name on it, but after half of them, you don't have no name sometimes. Even the first type of numbers they have put, you don't have it no more.
Yeah. So, no, I think there should be good communication on this topic and see how the people feel about it. I don't feel like that. So far, there's no communication. It's about time that a small delegation, the president can appoint maybe 2 or 3 persons to go radio on each radio, as they do often. But it seems like they don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah, but
the people have to know, and the people, majority of the population, have to agree. To me, you just can't impose something like that. Dealing with our dead is something very delicate. What will happen? No, that those things need to be
have some big
reviewed and rethink. And while we're doing that, we can find there's space for there's so much land that is non constructive, and that they can find areas.
Because the collectivity just buy a piece of land more, no? They could use that too.
You're looking for trouble.
No. Listen, the comments coming in. And I just read them. So I just read them. Okay. So I'm going to Anthony. We know slaughterhouse, abattoir. From that time, from the beginning, this abattoir have a problem. From the time they put the abattoir, today was the point of that because I got a little more to move all the way. you tell me the travel stop because he ain't got no money. So today was the update. How much?
I'm also a rat.
One of them, they still want you. So what's the update about the abattoir? Because today we build a slaughterhouse. We expect, me when I see that, I was expecting when I go, I do the commercial thing, we're going Super U, we're going to buy some local shop, we're going to see viande de Saint-Martin, des smil from origin Saint-Martinoise. Today is not the case. Sometimes we watch is the origin.
You're very far from that.
Yes. So today, what's I know it's not your portfolio, you're not a position, but can you give us, if you have a little news or what's going on with the slaughterhouse?
I can't speak. But I came here tonight as a conseiller territorial de la collectivité de Saint-Martin. But when you ask me that question, I cannot respond with that casket.
Okay.
I would have to respond with my conseiller technique de la CCSM.
Okay.
That's where I get the information, because when I sit on that side of the bench, when the questions are asked to the collectivity for what's going on with the abattoir, there's radio silence. Okay. The farmers have not gotten the information and the updates. Between the lines, you hear that they were supposed to be open since December 15th. That was postponed. We have no new dates. We have no updates. It's radio silence. We feel again, a lack of respect for our profession, because they constantly ask us to be resilient, be resilient, and all we ask for is to have the outil de travail to be able to work properly. So yeah, that is so. I can't give no response where the collectivity is concerned, what is happening with the abattoir, because there are no answers. I know I've seen emails go back and forth and no answers whatsoever. We can't get a calendrier. We don't know what's going on. Even for us as farmers, we need to know how to organize ourselves, and we have not gotten that information. So that's all I can say. As now, what is the abattoir? Yes, I've also heard that there's no work going on, although the chantier is still on hold.
They tell me what the reason? They don't have no money. The entrepreneur ain't getting paid. Hey, I just saying what they tell me, and you know, rumor something is real. Okay. Mr. Charles,
I cannot confirm.
I know you're not in a position to confirm this. Mr. Charville, we know when it comes to St. Martin, people land, I could call you a specialist in this thing. Today, we see last year, we vote a lot of things to Terre Caraïbe, today was an update, because we were seeing a lot of things were voting, so we could get this from Guadeloupe to buy land for us. Today was the update, because the last one had a little scary thing about the expropriation. Today was an update about this Terre Caraïbe. Do we moving forward? We getting to buy more land, or we block because we don't know what block us?
Before he answers,
yes,
let me just correct you. There's no little scary thing about expropriation. There's no. It's actually it's a reality.
It's real.
Okay.
It's a reality. Yes. The fact that you change a word doesn't change the reality. They are going to expropriate people, and they voted for that outcome because they've given that authority to Terre Caraïbe to do so.
Because we see my part, I see me inside, I just analyze from outside, because I have apparently when we try to have the majority in this program, they have a little. I'm going to say it again. So for those who don't know this, but when you give Terre Caraïbe to buy, let me say, a lot of land from people in Martin, people expropriation. After 5 years, if you don't have money, it's 10 years. After the 10 years, if you don't have no money, what happened?
They stay with the land. Owners? They stay with the land and do what they want with it.
They are owners.
You know, I was never in favor of the collectivity bringing what you call EPF. Look now, they changed the name since we collectivity became a member. They changed it to Terre Caraïbe, just so that people to understand it's the same thing. EPF or Terre Caraïbe, same thing. They just changed the name. For the simple fact that we didn't need them here. They said, yeah, we don't have the money. They have the money, so we're going to bring them here. Really? So just what they're doing, we could have done it. Maybe not as fast, but we could have done it. I remember telling them in the council, people heard me saying it, we just need two things. Create Agence Foncière that finally was created because the prefecture, Mr. President Macron sent a missionary here in the name of Mr. Etienne Pinol, and who explained to the president that this would be a good thing to do. So they told it to them, so they said, okay, but I've been telling them, yeah, we need to do that, Agence Foncière. And then we needed, at the same time, to create another Société d'économie mixte, ASEM, like ASEM, some type of company. With those two things, the same would serve to finance. The Agence Foncière would be the role, you know, at the beginning, how they came here, the collectivity signed a contract with them for 1 year. For them to come here and do some research, help, you know, all those houses abandoned and Margot and so on, the succession problem that we're having here, and to see how they can help us because they do that kind of work in Guadeloupe. And so there was a contract for that. But someone told the president, but you know, President, yes, this thing was created for Guadeloupe because it's the communes of Guadeloupe that are the members of this thing, and they pay a fee.
Yeah, 400,000 euros.
20 euros par habitant.
So apparently we pay 400,000 euros to this thing. No.
You give it a figure, but and in other words, they told them, okay, this is what we should do, and they went ahead because they said, oh yeah, we're gonna need to buy land, and they got the money and things. But there was a catch to it that they didn't know yet when they did it. When they became a member and they allowed them to come in, a lot of things had to happen. They had to change the statute. We had to come to the council, take deliberation, modify a bunch of stuff. And today they realize that once you identify a property for them to purchase, since we don't have that kind of money, if it's 30 million, example, well, you can give them the rights to do that without giving them the rights to do preemption and the rights to expropriate. So you have to, your collectivity have to transfer your rights to expropriate to them and transfer your rights to preempt to them. And that's why Angeline is saying it's already done by deliberations taken, for instance, the land agreement. You heard that the collectivity took a deliberation, given Terre Caraïbe the rights to purchase that land, and if they don't reach a negotiated price, to expropriate.
Which piece of land agreement?
By the one point, that whole piece of land is going from the roundabout back to the port.
Where the
Carnival Village was?
Yes, yeah.
Long time ago, yeah.
Okay.
So while we were back, so you're going to have the new, it's not going to be EDF, the electricity plant. It's got a new one.
Oh, I think the purchases to Agandido 1 point, so we have left traffic.
No.
Okay.
There are two different projects there. But anyway, that's there. The all those lots of pieces of land that the collectivity needs to buy at the entrance of the new city scolaire on the Savannah, in the area, not exactly in the area, while they also give that rights to pay to Terre Caraïbe to negotiate, continue to negotiate with the families. The collectivity began, but now that they made a deal with Terre Caraïbe, the collectivity has to take a step back. They don't have no more rights to negotiate. It is Terre Caraïbe. Even if the collectivity want to step in, they have to stay out because they give the power to Terre Caraïbe to go negotiate with our people about their land. And if they don't agree, they expropriate them. But that rights have been transferred to them already. So Angeline is right. It's being done by deliberation. But I'm saying the danger to that. See, for the lots there, pieces of land in the Savannah, it's not a problem. Where it becomes a problem if we take Orient Bay, Beaupertuis issue. President said that they struck a deal with the administrator, and it's going to be a few lots. I think it's 3 lots to Saint-Samar, some lots to Terre Caraïbe. He didn't say how many, and the rest the collectivity. Collectivity is going to get a loan. They don't have the money to purchase. So automatically, you're going to have 3 owners. President doesn't want to hear that. He's in his mind, no, it's 2 owners. The collectivity in somehow no. It's going to be Sensamao, Terre Caraïbe, and the collectivity. Why? Because Terre Caraïbe will get a title. That's important for the people to understand. They will get, whenever they purchase, they get a title, even though they're holding it for 5 years. President say he, and as far as Orion Bay is concerned, over Poetry Land, he negotiated for more than 5 years. Great. But whoever is going to be president, whichever team that's going to be running this country in 6, 7, 8 years from now, when the time comes for them to pay, it will be a lump sum. If they pay 30 million, you better have 30 million when that time comes.
Because you don't know what that's a risk, because you don't know what financial situation the future collectivity is.
So when you pay them, they transfer back, you go back with the notary. It is a sale. They sell it back to you. But of course, it's symbolic. They don't make a profit. They're not supposed to make a profit, but they would have to sell it because it's theirs. That's important to understand. So when you sign the whole land for the Saint Martin people for the future and so, great, sounds good. But if you analyze it good, it's a risk.
Yes.
There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that when that time comes, it will really come back to us. So you can't say for sure you're holding it for us. Once you get that title and you're playing with time, no one knows what will happen when that time comes. No one knows. So that's where the risk is. And I don't like that at all. I don't like that idea.
Mr. Charville and Mrs. Lawrence, the last week I had Monsieur Daniel Gibson, so he goes to just to see. He wasn't sitting, he was in your position, and he leave office with a lot of planification. There was some money inside. Today, when I hear like, we don't have money for this, we don't know for that. What did they do? Because you guys in the opposition, what did they do with the money?
Well, there are a lot of projects that.
They build a school.
But yeah, that was there for that. But you see,
which school they build?
That's around French Quarter. Those are projects that were already
there.
So
no, they continue. They build. They continue.
No, let me explain you. You see, most of the money gone into what they call the budget of fonctionnement. You have to understand, that the salaries and charges left from being for about 3 consecutive years, about 43 million or so. Today, it's 72 million. You see, it's almost double in 2 years, not in 3 years. So that alone is telling you that quite a bit of money gone into the budget of fonctionnement. The other thing is that, the money was there, but the money was there for a reason. The money was there, when
it was reserved for projects
when
that
money
was already engaged.
is not spent, it's because they did not get. Sometimes there are certain projects that did not happen, but still have to happen. There are certain contractors that work haven't been paid, but the money is yet to pay them. So when you take over, you have to be so careful, not because you find 72 million there, that means to say you can go and do things with, you have to try to understand why it's there and what it's earmarked, what is earmarked for that 72 million. And I'm not sure that that's how it happened, because today we're talking about borrowing money, a lot of loans. We just, and that was totally ridiculous. We voted, we did abstention, we didn't.
You're talking about the délégation to give the city to give the CE.
No, we come into that.
I come into that.
No, we're talking about the 10 million euros that the collectivity had to borrow from IFD because they didn't have, they said the plane, we don't have money to pay the contractors in the Savannah, so we have to go borrow 10 million euros from IFD and to be paid in 20 years. Now, when you understand that AONT got 17.2 million from the collectivity, as its participation in that adventure. And today you have to borrow 10 million. You know there's a problem.
Yes.
Okay.
And then
because you went more faster than me, because we're coming about the deliberation from the city to give power to the CE, because I remember, I forget who said Sunday, like you have, I think it's Monsieur Goudezormo, who was saying like you have, I put talking about the two fellows or two people sit down and giving people $1 million, all kind of things. So what's the feeling? Because I think you guys didn't vote for it.
Of course, we never voted. This is the fourth time they came with it. Gerald, you know, this team here that is running the country now, RSMA, but I also want to say RSM, because the president, you know, he had MAP, he had NGP, and today is RSM, and RSMA is the alliance that is running the country today, but RSM, the president party, first MAP since in the days of MAP, was championing for years that we need a separate, since we became collectivity since 2007. We need to modify our organic law because we need a separation of powers, the legislative and the executive. Today we have the executive is executive, legislative, so is judge, jury, executioner at the same time, you know. And so this is the administration that I really thought that would fight that and say, no, we ain't doing that. They are taking the powers of us, our powers and territorial council powers that we have, and so they're substituting the powers of the territorial council to the executive council, and so that if there's an urgency, they can go quick, since they meet once a week, every Thursday. And the territorial council, in order to have a meeting, you need a minimum of 12 days, etc. So it takes time. But the kind of powers that we are transferring to them is almost everything except what the law says that that they can't get. And we always said no. It shouldn't be like that.
And this is the first one that's done that type, because usually even in the past they used to transfer powers, but not the total amount that is done today. And although yes, they do have the power, they have the majority. Some will say yes, they should be able to. But to me, what is even the bigger issue is the lack of transparency. We don't know what decisions we as territorial councils don't know what decisions.
They have a lot of things.
What decisions? Because even now we were supposed to receive the Journal Officiel. We don't get that. When you go on the website, I don't know what was it? April 2024 was the last time.
The Journal Officiel would help us councillors and the population, but when you go looking for the Journal Officiel, they are behind time. Instead of having the one, for instance, by now we should have the one for December by now, because it is the 28th of January. Well, you would see the one for April, or I think they say June. Okay, let's say June. So you got 6 months, almost 7 months, no Journal Officiel. So how would we know what's going on?
So because I believe, okay, we sell that for the campaign, we have to modify the law organic.
We do need to do that.
Because I believe we want to do it because we have all the parliamentarians and we camp, and I say camp, RSMA, and I believe they will do like Martin, because Martin, you have two organs de gouvernance.
You have the legislative and
I think we want to do something. So, but now we see like we could blame France because France is upside down, we can't make certain pass. And as I say, upside down, because last year the deputy saying Guadeloupe, like Beirut is my friend. I saw him, we constantly used to say Sarko was my friend, and we didn't really have a lot of things. But today, when I hear you saying about we put 17 million RT, that means 17.2, that means
because we're supposed to maybe have to put another 3 million because there's a fine that has to be paid, and I know RT doesn't have the money.
But I don't understand. I don't understand. Until when we gonna put money in this hearing?
Well, right now we can, because we are practically broke. And
practically, or practically broke,
well,
or are we broke?
We close.
Because when we gotta take clothes, we broke.
We don't have any more money to give guarantee.
So what
even
gonna
if,
happen? We gonna shut down? Oh,
Well, they're close to that. You know, well, the
majority has
procedure of conciliation. When you reach a procedure of conciliation, means to say that you're belly up. That you actually in the American system, there's the process that for you to declare yourself bankrupt.
When you look at spirit are the same thing.
Yeah, spirit. But the American system is different. The French system allows you to go to the judge and say, "Listen, Mr. Judge, we're having some extreme financial difficulties. We want you to help us to see how you can maybe not have us to pay these because right now the huge thing for them is loan payments. They have to pay some 200,000 per month euros because they got those 4 aircrafts. Yes, they paid 400,000 to get them, but it came with a loan that was there of 21 million euros, and they never said that. So you have to pay 200,000 euros per month besides all the other overhead that they have.
Per month?
So yeah, per month, of course. So that 200,000 is what they're trying to get a judge to negotiate with the banks or whoever they owe, to see how for a certain time, a period of time, they don't have to pay that money. But the judge doesn't have to agree, and the people that they owe don't have to agree. So we are at that stage, but you only do that when you got financial difficulties.
And I was going to say, so I would hope that one of the parties, because it's remember it's a private public company. I hope one of the parties on the many trips of the president to France would have gone to meet with potential investors to see if they can get some capital injections. I would hope that that's on his many trips that were meetings planned.
Listen,
or that the partners had arranged.
1 year ago, if I'm not mistaken, when they proposed that they were well nice, we get in this company. It was they were it was nice. Today when I see national news writing certain things and local news, other news writing, and this company more than belly up, Monsieur Charville.
They got some serious financial problems, and it's just a matter of time for them to come out clean and say what it is. The only thing that can save this company right now is for the collectivity, since they have 60% shares, to say, okay, you know what, we need to change the structure of this company so that some other big company, experienced company in the aviation business can buy us out. And they have enough funds to inject, because for this airline to survive, it would require a huge amount of money, a big injection of funds to really keep it afloat, and over the years maybe make it successful. Yeah, as it is today, there's no money and you need money. When you take over an airline like that, in so much trouble, it's so much difficult, it's money you need. And we that have owned 60% of share, we don't have the money. And that was a mistake.
Well, so by June we might have, but every day to get news with ALT. So anyway, every day you get up to get news with ALT. Well, normally today is the 28th. We wasn't supposed to have the first flight the event.
Well, it was first the 6th, the 7th, then it was the 28th, not the 28th, not the 20, the 28th. That's what you heard. You heard 28th, that is the 20th. 20.
Okay.
Did it fly?
No. But the aircraft that had to make that had to come here, take off the month, that's the one that got a problem in St. Bart's.
The small one was smoking.
It turned out, yeah.
Okay.
That's the one. Now, they suppose ALT has the new ALT, and that's the name. And the aircraft kind ALT because it got permission. But the name of the company is New ALT. The new ALT has one twin. They acquire one twin otter. No one knows where that twin otter is. We know that they couldn't fly because it needs so much repairs. But they were saying that in January we would have the one that is flying all the time. That they lease. It's a lease aircraft, by the way. And theirs. But for now, I don't know if the one that got a problem is back in action. I know up to a few days ago it wasn't. So there were no flights between St. Bart's and and Guadeloupe. But that's the same aircraft that was supposed to fly us out if we wanted too early in the morning from here. And that is going backward to me because we expect to reach Guadeloupe in 40 minutes, 45 minutes, not an hour and 10 minutes and 5 minutes. And so that's what the Twin Otter is. We used to do that in the 80s, 90s. If we're going to make something happen, let's make it happen with a modern aircraft. It has to be an ATR. They have an ATR 42 that is still somewhere. We don't know where it is.
Normally, it reaches somewhere.
No, not a 42. They have 272 and 142, which is the next stupidity. The 72 cannot take off from St. Martin fully loaded. Why are you going to buy? It's a St. Martin airline.
Yeah.
Supposed to be based here. One of them normally had to be based here and can't take off fully loaded from here. Doesn't make sense. They had 42s. Why the 42s? Maybe 172. It's not about price. It's about convenience, and then it's about
after let's say it's a St. Martin company, but you have 120 people from Guadeloupe and Martin.
No, but anyhow, this whole thing needs to be rethink and restudied and see how we can. Because don't forget, this is taxpayers' money.
Yes.
And we have to see how we can, at least if we can get back all, we can save a big percentage of that money to put back in the coffers.
Well, I hope the president will. You ever meet the president of the Conseil Territorial? Because the last time, 2 years ago, you were there, asked the same thing. You tell me no.
No, I did. Did I say no? We happen to cross paths. We happen to say hello.
No, I'm talking I believe, like we see in other countries.
Parties, no.
Yeah, other country. And you go call Monsieur Charville. Listen, Monsieur Charville, I need to meet you on this subject. What you think about this? You know,
that's the way it should be. And I have asked at the beginning. I don't do it anymore. I have the mandate. I kept reminding him, why don't we talk a bit? We can talk. You can say, okay, we have this, and we can discuss. But he didn't seem interested in doing that. But that's how I think, a small little community like this, and the problems that we have now.
You need everybody.
Yes, opposition, call it minority opposition, but this particular minority group, and I must say it, and I don't know how Angeline see it, but that's how I really see it, and she'll confirm if she wants to. We haven't, for the past 3 years, acted as a real opposition. We more are there, call us a minority, because we try to give advice, we try to not be
ruffle feathers,
not be on the radio. Like I today, when I look back, sometimes I say, boy, it was hard on Mr. Gibbs. Yes, I was. I was, and I have to admit that. Every week we had a radio program. Every week we were hitting him, rightfully on things that need to be hit. But this administration is this president should consider himself lucky. I don't hear Mr. Gibbs on the radio. There are so many things we can talk about. He doesn't. But yet, every time, not every time, but often on the radio, he's talking about opposition. What opposition? Opposition is not troubling you.
Yeah, but it's not the opposition who's in power.
But not that. I'm saying, but sometimes you have to say, be careful what you ask for. Because if you keep calling out opposition and yet they're not doing anything, or they're not really coming at you, it's like you calling them to come at you. So, whereas that's not, we need to work together. And I don't think he's getting that message. In the council, I see sometimes certain members of the opposition would be more like given almost an idea at the end that it's received with a lot of arrogance, a lot of, and sometimes misunderstood.
Everybody's saying that no.
Yeah, so
everybody is a social media. Everybody's saying.
I feel like no one listens to understand. They listen to respond and just attack back instead of trying to sit down. Well, I'm going to take note. We're going to study it and then come back to you. It's automatically answered as a negative that you're trying, instead of listen to have common sense and understand what the message is. you constantly attack right back. And that's where we get that. This is where you're gonna get at some point. We told you so. We told you so. We said so. You did not listen.
Yeah. New York. This morning, my little mouse tell me they had a seminar so I hope we might see some change. And
when was that?
Today.
Today, really? Okay.
So I hope might see some little change.
The majority.
Yes, the majority, not you guys.
Not opposition.
I is not
We
part of the
never
majority.
invited to those.
So I can be in it. So what's your guys' goal for this year for St. Martin, especially government? Because we a year and a half before election, because a year and a half the president can't really do a lot of them because we're going in the campaign train.
It's 2 years, eh? But
2 years, but
let's say
December.
1 year.
This is the last
to be
year.
1 year to be able to do things this year.
This year after everything locked. So, Mr. Charville and Mrs. Lawrence, what's your view for this year? Because when I listen to our youth, they're like, they have more to come.
I've how to say this without saying.
That's the truth radio. So
I think this year will be very how to say. It's going to be a very active year. You're going to see a lot of things come out this year. Good and bad.
It don't stop.
What are our plans in opposition? You know, all we can do is continue doing our job in opposition and be there to assist, or, you know, however we can if it's received. But this is going to be a year where a lot of people is going to have a lot of explaining to do. There's going to be lots of ups and downs, a lot of hiccups, a lot of bumps. That's how I see it. Now, I don't know if Mr. Shelby sees it the same way as I do.
Well, since you asked the question, this is going to be the year where we will have to be very vigilant because the population, I think they're looking at things as how they see it out there on the surface. But Angeline is right. We're going to see a lot of things. We're going to hear and see a lot of good things, but some bad things. But our mission this year is to really be on the president to make sure that he does the things that's supposed to be done for the population, the things that were promised by him over and over and still not happening. The Sanigong Stadium has to start every year. Money is on the budget.
Yeah, but
the budget for the fence alone for the past 3 years.
And now you have association complaining about it too.
And the fence still can't get just the fence. Imagine the stadium itself. There was a delegation that came, the collectivity came to Sanigong almost a year ago, told the Sanigong people that by August 2024, the work will start. We have the money, the work is going to start in August 2024 to be finished in December 2024. In January 2025, work hasn't started yet. You know, as an example, our cultural centers, now that the incident happened with that tourist that unfortunately, you know, that incident in Vancouver. Now, okay, the police station, we're going to, but that was promised so long ago. The cultural center in Vancouver, promise and promise and promise. When the Catholic Church in Vancouver was inaugurated the other day, not 2 months ago, that day a big speech again that next year the cultural center. Well, we heard that before. Do it. The last thing is land.
Yeah, because I was coming about the land.
And we have to be vigilant with that. Too many false promises. More than a year ago, yes, we're going to do the €1 per square meter for the domain land publicly twice. Then, okay, I can't do it, but it will be something else. Up to today, what is it? Sanigong Fete, August the 15th, 2024. August, he announced that yes, I'm going to meet with the Conseil de Quartier representatives and the members of the Commission ad hoc des 50 pas géométriques, and I'm going to discuss it with them. We're going to see. Never happened. That has to happen. The people are waiting too long to see there's so many families and persons waiting. Some of them got documents saying avis favorable with the old price, but they're not going to pay, and they wait because a promise was made for a lower price. But how long are we going to keep those people there hanging? And I don't intervene anymore in the council about it, because it's like, I mean, people tired of hearing me asking the president questions. But when, Mr. President, there's a commission ad hoc de 50 par géométrie was created for that, among other things, but the price. Never ever the president come to discuss price with us, but even discuss price with the state, whereas the state has nothing to do with that. Well, you know, so things like that, this year, we're going to be mostly defending the people's interests more than ever, because there are too many things that were promised to them and not delivered. So we're going to be their guardian more than ever this year. Because, like you said, this is the last lap. So a few things that were promised must happen, at least some of them.
So we will increase the pressure.
Last question before we go. We see a letter. I follow in Conseil Territorial, so I have to ask it. Because I find it had, for those who following from the time we passed collectivité. Before, we then used to get letters destined to the president to be out in social media. This from the time president sit down in office, anytime they send a letter to the president, as I consider as press member, we get a copy of this letter. We see a letter was up down from the prefecture saying the domaine tell the president, estimate this salaire and Mont-Vernon, now they all over for 300,000 et quelques, and the collectivity buy for it.
Yeah, nearly 3 times the price.
Yes, nearly. So, as opposition, what's the feeling? We do anything by feeling because I know you I point my price, or how we move? Because no, we spend, we don't have no money. And as bon papa, père de famille, we're supposed to protect the people who, in case something happen, we have a little changer to do what we have to do.
Yeah. Well, the president was asked. The question was asked by I think
Godezormo,
and of course Melissa, kind of what she
Nicola.
She gave advice. She recommended
press on it again, among other things. And the president said, okay, he didn't reach on his desk, but the DGS confirmed that indeed, yes, that letter came, because some people say, no, it's a track. No, it's not a track. It's a real letter from the prefecture. And we going to give the president a chance to, he said once it reached on his desk, he's going to, but I guess he will have an explanation to the population, so to us too. We don't know what's the reason. We're quite interested in understanding why that happened. We know that when France Domaine gives an estimation, the collectivity has the rights to go 10% more or 10% less.
Okay.
But not twice or 3 times the amount. And there's a lot of explaining that has to be done. So we are very interested in understanding the reason.
Okay. Well, Mr. Charville, thank you. Mrs. Lawrence, thank you for passing through your radio. I hope to have you guys by March. We're going to have a 3 years before when we was election.
Did you hear the comment about, it was very funny, that the collectivity now is becoming an adult. It's 18 years.
Yeah,
Melissa. Once you make 18 years, you're an adult.
Yeah, but you could still be in your mother and your father's house.
No, but that's the point.
Yes.
The point she was making is that we let the collectivity behave as if it's an adult in the presidency. So it's not the case. While we answer together sometimes. In other words, we got autonomy since 2007. Let's behave as if we have autonomy. So stop making the state feel that we still a baby and we still need to hold on them. We still depend on them for everything. We have enough competence. There's so many things we have. When you got taxation, you can do a lot to create revenues instead of putting out your hand, begging.
Well,
so
I always say, you have to show friends, you go handle your business too.
Good. That was a message.
Yeah, because if you're not showing friends, you can handle business. Because the same thing when you watch Sinbad don't beg because they're doing it's simple things we have to do to show friends, listen, I could handle certain things. So when I come, I ask you, listen, I don't need your money. I just need you when I come with this law. I have a deputy, I have a senatrice. I want to do this law. You just tell me green light. But I find we sorry to say that we have some comportement immature in the conseil territorial. And I'll say something, you have to humble yourself.
Well, that was a message.
And so good because I believe a collectivity, because it's the same thing. We see the other side talking about independence. What we could talk about. Same thing. Are you in the conseil territorial? Yeah, we have to do a commission to talk about la loi organique, please. That was
no. Let me correct you. That's not what you were saying. Melissa, yeah. No. What she's saying, not we have to. It has been created since 2022. What she's saying is that it has been created, but there was never ever.
Yeah, but the deputy said we have to create a commission.
No. It was created.
And he said
yeah, but I don't know why he said that. There's a commission that's been created that is called Commission pour le règlement, la révision du règlement intérieur et la révision de la loi organique.
Okay,
and there was not one meeting.
No, and that's what she was trying to say. It needs to be called us to finally do the work that we promised and said it
for the règlement intérieur. But for the loi organique, we touched on that earlier. How you want to talk about modification de la loi organique and the commission never met. But yet you're going friends talking about you can't until you do the work in the commission, and from there you bring it to the Conseil territorial, take a deliberation, then the parliamentaires.
I believe it's so we used to function.
But that's how it's supposed to be, but it hasn't been that way. And so we can, as long as we don't do that, we can forget about modification and law organique. You could talk, you could do, there was also some roundtable conference we saw in the CCE, I think somewhere, about the law organique. No, the work has to be done in the commission that was created for that.
Well, but since we give the powers to the CCE, it doesn't necessarily have that without the international commission?
No.
Well,
no.
Folks,
you don't know?
No.
Listen, folks, they have more work to do. And I say, listen, on peut avoir 18 ans, mais on est toujours chez ses parents. Et je pense que, and when you have, yes, you can have 18 years and you're still living with mommy and daddy, you're still in mommy daddy house. Yeah. And you have to go with mommy daddy rules. You can't come in 3 o'clock. If she tell you 7 o'clock, you come in 7 o'clock. So thank you for Mr. Charville and Madame Lelaris for passing through conversation.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you guys as soon as possible. I don't do no conversation straight after Conseil Territorial. Before this year, I do bring opposition to talk on the radio after Conseil Territorial. If they have an issue, we need to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. For those who follow and listen, the door is open for the majority too. So next week, we have majority in the house. We're going to have somebody from the majority in the house. And then we're going to talk about she portfolio and then we move forward. So I wish this year is the last year that this majority can move rocks to build walls again so we could look good. Okay, it's not about people against. We're in 24th and in 25. So anything social media, you send something is all over. So I don't understand when the president get a letter, we don't have it too. So okay. So what I'm saying,
we get it before.
Sometimes we get it before the élus. Okay, so what accent is not we from Oxford is the problem. The problem is between you. So I hope the
and it's not the élus. The problem isn't come from those who sit around the table.
Well, I hope today they had a seminar between days. So I hope they trash it up and we get back in track so we could start to deal with the real issue. So folks, see you guys jeudi, same hour, but different guests. We're going to talk about money with Adi. I hope she's going to bring money. Now, you can't get 10 million loan with Adi, so it's 10 million. So, folks, soyez prudents, ceux qui sont sur la route, ceux qui ont commencé à faire la fête, buvez de l'eau, and if you feel you start to see the road and two, call a taxi man to bring you home and share the road and be safe. And those fellows who are thinking about gun, drop your gun, take a book, take the computer, learn something so we could say, the system you put you off, but use the system to move forward. Folks, thank you. And thanks for my guests and them. And Mr. Charville, we're going to build a new road before the election. Bye-bye.
Yeah, get locked up.
Smiling faces, we share the hard time. Now nobody wanna leave it up to the one who did, 'cause no one cares about yesterday's and today's hard time to bear.